It's glad to have you join us today on a very insightful edition of the Medley Show. But today is not with Cecil. She is unavoidably absent, but I promise you a full hour of insightful conversation as you go with us to the top of the hour. My name is Tochi Oputa, and of course I'm not alone today. I'll be doing this with Ebere.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm so excited.
Okay, I can see the excitement already. Anyway, today we'll be talking building active participation in elections. I mean, first of all, I'm going to start with this. I have my PVC. Ebere, do you have your PVC?
Tochi, I do have my PVC.
And I hope you have plans to vote when it's time to vote.
Of course I do. I mean, that's what we're out for, because it's actually exciting to know that not just the older persons like it has been over the years, but people are actually coming out to like talk about it. Even concerts, you could see concerts, they actually make it mandatory. Oh, if you want to, for musicians, if you want to come to their concert, one of the requirements is you have to present your PVC.
Okay,
so
but all that is good.
Yeah.
All that is good, but we want to ensure from our conversation today, we want to ensure that we take all this clamor on social media to the polls. So that's going to be the basis for our conversation today. There's this popular say, well, it's not really a saying, it's not written somewhere, but it's very popular amongst people. They say, my vote doesn't count.
I mean, why would they?
Today we're going to demystify that, and that we are going to ensure that people are confident of the fact that when you cast your vote is going to count. But to lay more emphasis, to give you a better insight onto what we're going to be talking about today, here is a background that reports to set the tone for our conversation today. Watch this.
As the build-up to the 2023 general election gathers momentum, political parties are aggressively wooing voters, while the campaign to obtain a permanent voter card is topical in many corners. Celebrities and social media activists are at the forefront of the drive to obtain a PVC. Twitter, one of the most popular social media platforms in Nigeria, had the hashtag #GetYourPVC tweet trended with over 20,000 retweets on each day consistently for about a week. While on Google Trend, the acronym PVC has been used over 10,000 times in the past couple of days in Nigeria. These actions reinforces the fact there is an online advocacy for the registration and collection of PVCs in Nigeria. While the concern about obtaining PVCs is valid, the next question is, what happens to the cards collected? For many, it adds to the number of identity cards. For others, it's used for transactions, while many more just want it to be on record that they have it. Records have it that the number of those who use it for its purpose, that is voting, falls far below the numbers collected. After a series of deafening calls for PVC collection from different quarters, the 2019 general election season recorded a total of 84,004,084 total registered voters. This was said to be an impressive number compared to 67,422,005 recorded in 2015. But, surprisingly, only 29,364,209 voters, amounting to 35.66% of the total number, showed up on election day. Lagos had the highest number of registered voters at 6,570,291. Of this number, 5,531,389 collected their PVCs, but only 1,006,074 came out to vote. Kano recorded the next highest number of registered voters at 5,457,747, with 4,696,747 picking up the cards. only 2,269,305 used their cards when it mattered most, on election day. Where were the remaining millions of voters on the D-Day? It brings the context. Should we be talking about getting your PVC that we don't use eventually on the D-Day? Or coming out on the D-Day to actually justify the essence of the PVC? In 2021, Anambra State governorship election, a total of 2,525,471 registered voters were recorded, but INEC say only 253,388 were accredited on election day, amounting to just 10% of those with PVC. The figure analysts have said is a record low in the history of governorship elections in the state since 2007. This means 10% of the people decided the fate of the whole. While the campaign for Get Your PVC is louder as 2023 election approaches, some off-cycle elections may as well be the test of propaganda versus actuality. The just concluded Ekiti election is a perfect test of the waters. 989,224 people collected their permanent voter card, but only 363,438 came out on election day to be accredited. Of this number, only 360,753 actually casted their votes. In the state of close to 1 million people with voters card, only 187,057 votes were enough to produce the next governor. With the total number of registered adults in possession of their PVCs and the actual number of those who come out to vote on election day a mismatch, one begins to wonder, is the hype for registration and PVC collection the main concern? Is the clamor for PVC collection overhyped and a bandwagon effect? Should the sensitization take a different tone? What can trigger a change of mindset of the electorates on election day? Share your thoughts with us on Medley Show today.
Thank you very much for that report. They say figures don't lie, and there you've seen like actual figures from already conducted elections that seem to suggest that people just collect these PVCs and sit them in their wallets, which is not the main reason for those PVCs. So today we're going to be talking, like I said, building active participation at the polls. At the polls is the most important place where these PVCs are used, not just for access to events or shows, they are for election. So we're going to be having a conversation with Mr. Oseriti Imahierobo.
Thank you.
He is a former journalist, former media advisor to the former INEC chairman. He's also the former director in the Voter Education and Publicity Department, and he retired as the admin secretary at INEC Bayelsa. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you.
I'm sure you saw that report.
Yeah, I did.
So the last election, the last presidential and governorship election was in 2019.
Yes.
We had a number of state elections last year. Ekiti state election was just last week, and then Osun is very close by. From all the figures, it is very clear that the figure for accredited voters is usually way higher. Like our Anambra State, for example, they had over 2.3 million accredited voters, but just less than 10% went to the polls. Why do you think that happens?
Yeah, thank you very much. The number of registered voters is different from the number of people who come for accreditation.
Yeah, I'm talking accredited.
Yeah, accredited. Yeah. If you have over 2 million accredited, and then you have less
than 200,000 at the polls.
Voting. It shows that people were really not serious. They didn't know exactly why they had to be accredited, because once you're accredited, and I think it's necessary to just get these things clear. It's possible some of them came for accreditation and they were not accredited because it's possible their cards were not there. And it's even becoming so easier now because you have the beavers, which makes it you get accredited simultaneously, and then you go and vote. As you get accredited, you go and vote. So it's easier. So every other person that wants to come and vote, they have their numbers, their number of their cards in every polling unit in the beavers. And so when you come to get registered to go do accreditation, once you are accredited, you are given a ballot paper, you go and vote. So the number of people who have cards, there are many. But how many people vote? Just like what the report said.
It's a bandwagon.
You're saying
everyone
everybody
likes to
saying,
join the bandwagon.
Go and register. You find out that most of those things, social media, everybody is talking about registration in the social media. But how many of these people will go and vote at the
I mean, now
day?
it looks like the elections have started on social media. Like they said, the hashtag Get Your PVC is trending on every social media platform. It's trending even in office. In fact, I did see a post. Someone said his domestic staff, all of his staff members, no one gets access into the office or into his house without a PVC. It's that serious now. But I want to ask, is it a sensitization problem? Because, like I said earlier, there is an unwritten myth that your vote does not count, that elections are already won before you go to the polls. So could that be the reason why they feel like they just sit down and think, there's no point wasting my time standing in the sun the whole day, and eventually they already have their results, you know?
Well, I think maybe if they had, that is an old idea. Because if you check the Anambra election and you check the recent Ekiti elections, it shows that even once you come, even before the election, after just few hours after the election, people know those who had been voted for. Yeah. And so with the beavers and the electronic transmission, it becomes so easy. So just go there and vote, and your vote will count. Anyone who says your vote will not count and you stay in your room, you stay in your parlor, or you stay in the beer parlor, or you stay in the field and say, oh, in the social media, the vote don't count. It means you don't really know what happens. So if you stay at home and you don't go out to vote, and you are already having a conclusion that the vote will not count, how will you know that the vote will not count when you didn't go out to vote?
Okay, this one now. So, of course, we know that at some point, INEC, the PVC is supposed to have ended by the end of the month, but there was a court order that said that they should extend it till August. So do you think this order is going to affect INEC's timeline or something? Well,
you see, in INEC, the commission draws up a program on how to do these things, and because that issue is already in the court, I really would not want to really delve into it that much. But people must realize that this process started way back last year. It started with going to online registration, and after online registration, you started with coming out to register capture. Physically to do capture and all that. And to think of it's so much money to be spent on this. You are thinking of the number of man hours, the number of people, and even the staff are going to the villages now and all that to go and register people. And you need a lot of staff, you need a lot of money, you need a lot of equipment that you're going to use. But just to think of it, people who are registering, yes, there is so much publicity, those who are registering, but there are many people who have registered before who are going to register a second time. If you check between the registration that was done between when it started, the continual voter registration that was done when it started till January this year, you find out that you have a total of 44.6 invalid registration. Why is it
as a result of double registration?
Because if you have registered before, instead of going to register, why lie that you have not registered before? If your PVC is missing, you can ask for a reprint, a replacement. If you are transferring, maybe you move from one state to the other, instead of going to re-register, you go there and ask for a transfer. And most times, what people should be doing before you go and register, you should check what you call, check your voter registration status. Once you check, like you are here in the studio, like here when you are in the studio, you are in the studio now. If you Google INEC portal, check, just say you want to check your voter registration status. In less than 5 minutes, it will tell you where you registered, your polling unit. It will tell you every detail concerning you.
That's very valid information, because a lot of people don't know that they have to transfer from where they are to where they were to where they are presently. So from what I'm getting, are you saying that if you have over 4 million invalid registrations already, is it that those cards will not be printed, or if they are printed, they won't be able to vote with them?
Yeah, but when you have, for all the registration done, there's what you call AFIS, automatic fingerprint identification system, that checks the portal, because every registration that is done is in the portal. It's in the voter registration database. And what happens is that for every registrant, if you register twice or thrice, once AFIS is done, even if you use different photographs,
people register up to 3 times.
Yes, even if you use different face cap, you use different dresses and all that, it will all show your photographs. And at the end of the day, because the commission is not prepared to print cards, because it's costly to print the cards. And like I said in one of the during this Ekiti, there was one program I had. I was in one of the programs. People value their ATM more than their voters' cards.
I mean, that carries the money.
ATM is cheaper.
You don't blame them. That carries the money.
ATM is cheaper to print than the voter's card. So if you can keep your voter's card very well, you're not going to use it for any other. Although it's being used as a means of identification, you can keep your voter's card, just like you take so much interest in your ATM. Take so much interest in your voter's card, so that it will not get missing. It will not be defaced and all that. But instead of going to re-register, the first thing you should do is to check your voter registration status. And it will tell you if your name is not in the database, yes, you can go and register. But if it's in the database, why do you need to go and register? Because if you register twice or thrice, you expect INEC to print 3 voters cards for you. It's a waste of funds. So what it means is that check if you're going to transfer from one place to the other, do your transfer. If you need a reprint, ask them for a reprint. Don't be coerced, or maybe somebody is telling you, because of this hype now, everybody is now. If you go to Eagle Square, you see the way people are fighting. If you go to a Area 10 office, you see the way people are fighting. People are shouting. I was watching a video this morning. So I think in Enugu State, people are saying, it is my right, I have to vote. Ask those people, have they registered before? If you registered before and then you're trying to register again, what it means, you may not get a card.
Well, that is very important. I do have a question as regards my card, because I got my PVC, I think 2010, 2011. But before we get to that question, let's go to the streets and find out people's knowledge of the PVC. Watch this.
PVC, to my understanding, is I reserve my comments.
The PVC is permanent voters card.
I don't have a PVC because the last few times I've been up and about the country, I've moved a lot. So sometimes I can plan to register, but where I'll register is not where I'll be doing the election.
The reason for having my permanent voters card is to vote for the right candidates into office.
Permanent voters card.
That permanent voters card, you don't have voice. It is your right to get your voters card.
Last week, I went to the other branch, the other side. The crowd is not encouraging. I'm calling on the INEC to see if they can improve on their system. That is one. 2, they should extend the date so that it can accommodate people.
Those were voices from the streets, and it seems like there's a lot of bandwagon going on, like
a lot,
the hashtag get your PVC. So everyone is getting a PVC without even knowing the meaning of PVC or what they really need the PVC for. But kudos to those who know, and that's part of the reason for this program, to help you understand what the PVCs are for and why you need to get them. Okay. So I did, 1 minute, I did say I was going to ask a question about my card. And not just me, there are a couple of people like me as well. I got my PVC in 2010, 2011, and there is a story out there saying that it is inactive at the moment. You have to go to INEC to activate it, to be able to use it to vote. And that kind of, it may not be true, but that kind of made sense a bit, because in 2015 when I went to vote, I know that the machines did have a lot of problem, but several machines could not read my card, and eventually they just brought a paper for me and told me to turn print. I don't even know if that vote counted, but that was my case in 2015. So I want to know, is that really true? Is it permanent? Once you have your permanent voter's card, it is active until we don't have elections anymore, or is there a timeline to reactivate it? Maybe change information or something like that?
No, your voter's card is permanent. That is why it's called permanent voter's cards. It doesn't expire. Now, there might be a situation, maybe somebody who got married.
Okay.
As a maiden, as a young lady, or you got married, and then you now decide to use your husband's name. You can go to the commission
to
change your data, maybe to change your name. It won't take long to do
Can I
that.
change polling units?
Yeah, you can. You can equally. For instance, maybe you registered in Enugu or you registered in Bayelsa. You are now in Abuja, and then you want to vote in Abuja. All you need to is to ask for transfer.
No, I mean polling units within Abuja.
Yeah, you can.
That happens too.
You can move you can transfer from one polling unit to the other. It's just what you call transfer. Okay, maybe you are in Lokogoma and you are now in Gariki.
Yeah.
And then you feel that maybe coming all the way from going from Gariki to Lokogoma will give you some problems. You want to transfer maybe to the post office in area 10 here, or near NTA here, where if there's a polling unit close to NTA here. What you need to do is to go to INEC. I want to do my transfer of my polling unit where I used to live to the place, because it will be closer, because restriction of movement will not allow me move around at that time. I want to transfer my registration to a polling unit close to NTA. They will do that for you. Okay. So you don't need to register. And one thing is that no, your card is not invalid. You don't need to revalidate your card.
Okay, so we just had to clear that. That's been used around town, so we just had to clear that.
Yes, it's unlike your ATM. Maybe they gave you a particular time for your ATM that between so and so period
it will expire.
It will expire. So when it's getting to time, you go and do that to revalidate, to give you INEC. The permanent voter card is not like that. Once you register, it is permanent until a new format, probably a new format comes up, and the INEC will tell people, look, this is the new format. You remember before Jega came, there was a voter's card.
Yes.
But when Jega came, that done by Maurice Iwu's administration, Maurice Iwu's administration was
phased out,
and
another
then
one
a new one came up, which is permanent. So you don't need to revalidate. A lot of people have this misconception that because it's taking so long a time, you need to revalidate. It is not true. And that is why you find out that even if you go there and you want to do your transfer, they'll still need to do your capture, do a lot of things so that, you will transfer it. It's not that you're bringing another person's card. But what is happening now is that people are being pushed to go and register. And because of that, you are saying, the one you registered before is not valid, because when they use the previous system of authentication, it didn't work, the card reader. But the BVAS is making it very, very smooth.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, I think from everything you've said now, I think it has to do a lot to do with enlightenment. Do you think, and it's the INEC's responsibility to enlighten people on these informations? So what are your thoughts? Because most of the things you've said, I'm just hearing it for the first time.
You see, INEC alone cannot do all the voter education. You have the NOA, you have the political parties, you have the civil society organizations, everyone there, the media is there. If once the media is aware of the actual position, the CSOs, NOA, and the politicians, they know exactly what to do. But if you want INEC to do all the voter education, we might just be carrying too many. The commission might be carrying too many burdens. I think we need to really call on every other person in the country to help the commission in publicity, in mobilizing people. And then you find out that during the period like this, you find the commission going out on road shows, going for market rallies and all that, in order to let people know what is happening. But in doing that, it needs funds. So a lot of people can do that. I know a lot of people can do that. Just like what we're doing now is to let people know. I'm sure
they
after now, somebody will know that you have to go and check your voter status.
Yes.
All those of them who are gathered at the various centers now trying to register, if they know that they can check their voter status and they find out that their name is in the database, why would they need to go and start struggling to register?
So you do need to go and check your voter status. You need to check if your name is already in the database, so that you don't spend so much time at the different centers trying to re-register or to transfer. Check your voter status and be sure that you don't already have your name in the INEC database. But I'm going to ask you this though.
It's simple. It's within 5 minutes.
They have your results.
You have your results. The detail will tell you. If you check now with your system there, just put what you do. It will show you which state did you register. You click it. What is your first name?
You just answer a few questions and then the results.
What is your surname, your first name, your other name, and then your date of birth and all that. Once you do that, it will say, okay, submit. You submit in less than 5 minutes.
You have your results.
You have your registration, your results.
But, okay, very, very insightful information there. I'm glad that people get to know all this as you're saying, so that if they didn't know what to do, now they do know. But I'm just going to bring it back a little bit to what we're talking about today. We're trying to build active participation at the polls.
Yes.
The big question is, how do we translate all of the clamor on social media to the polls? How do we do that?
I like you will always say that the social media you don't vote in the social media. You vote at the polling unit. What you do is since you have your PVC, you go to the polling unit early in the morning. If you check what happened in Ekiti this last election, before 8 o'clock, you find out that the officials of the commission, they were all at the polling unit. And you come with your PVC and with the beavers, you do your accreditation, and then before you do, you vote, and then you go home. And something that is supposed to start by 8:30 started. People were already there at 8. The officials were already there before 8, and by 2:30, if people were still on the queue, they can still extend it. But if by 2:30 and people are not in the queue, you find out that at the end of the day, the results are counted right there and then. Before you know, it is transmitted to the collation center. It is not the period. If you check, I'm sure you didn't hear in Ekiti that people snatch ballot boxes. It was not necessary because you don't need it. Because even if you snatch the ballot boxes, it has been counted, and the result is already at the next collation center.
Yeah.
So the presiding officer who is coming with the result sheet, going to the collation center, before he gets to the collation center, the result is there. So if anybody,
there's no room for
anybody hijacks you on the way to alter the result, the person is coming with a fake result, because at the collation center the result is already there waiting for you.
Very good there. I have a feeling that you have gained some knowledge now.
I'm telling you, and again, I want to tell people, please, the calls are coming in. Please don't call. Just send a message. We'll definitely read it for you.
But I have an advice for you, though. Go check your voter status. I have a feeling you don't know.
I
have a strong feeling you don't know.
I know.
So please go check that. Anyway, while Ebere is checking her voter status, let's go and let's find out some frequently asked questions and the answers to them. Watch this.
As election season draws near, the electorates continue to ask questions on the 2023 electoral exercise. In our research, we were able to find out some of the answers to a few questions you may have. What is voters registration? Voters registration is the process of recording and compiling details such as names, age, fingerprint, address, and photographs of people eligible to vote into the register of voters. What is CVR? Continuous Voter Registration. What is PVC? Permanent Voters Card. Where can I register to become a voter? At the INEC designated center nearest to his or her local government area or area council during the continuous voter registration (CVR) exercise. What are the requirements to register as a voter? A person shall be qualified to be registered as a voter if he or she is a citizen of Nigeria, has attained the age of 18 years, is an ordinary resident, working, originates from the local government area or area council or ward covered by the registration center. Presents him or herself to the registration officer of the Commission for Registration as a voter. Is subject to any incapacity to vote under the law in Nigeria. Can I register at a center other than the one assigned by INEC? No. It is an offense to carry out registration at a center or place not designated by INEC. Can persons living with disability register as voters? Yes. Every Nigerian citizen 18 years and above, including people living with any form of disability, is entitled to be registered. Can a person register for someone else, that is, registration by proxy? No. Each person intending to register as a voter must appear in person before registration officials at designated centers. There is no registration by proxy. Why can't the registration of voters exercise continue till a week before the date of election? According to law, registration of voters and the update or review of the voters list must stop at least 30 days before any election, and the register to be used for the election must be certified. What am I to bring along during the CVR or continuous voter registration? You need not bring anything, but the registering officer may ask for any of the following: birth or baptismal certificate, national identity card, international passport, driver's license, or any other document that could prove the identity, age, and nationality of the applicant. Note: these may be required if the registration officer is not sure if the applicant is of age. What if I cannot find my temporary voter's card? Verify your name on the distribution list during the distribution of PVC or at the INEC local government office. If your name is on the register, you will be required to fill an attestation form to enable you collect your PVC. What can a person do if his or her voter's card is lost or damaged? The person should apply to the electoral officer or his or her local government area or area council for a replacement of the lost or damaged voters. This must be done not later than 60 days before the election. How long does it take for the Commission to process application for transfer? Usually it takes about 14 days. The electoral officer will contact the applicant when the process is completed for collection of his or her voter's card. In conclusion, we must endeavor to ask questions, especially when it concerns our electoral exercise.
Okay, thank you very much for that insightful FAQ, and those are frequently asked questions and of course answers to them. So if you were wondering, now you know. Our conversation on building active participation at the election is still on, and we're joined by Hawa Nana Ibrahim. She's a young politician and she did contest for the House of Rep seat of Lafia Obi constituency of Nasarawa State. Hawa, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
I mean, you're young. I must say I admire your courage to run for House of Rep. First of all, I mean, I'm sure everybody already asked you this question, but I'm still going to ask it. What inspired you? Like, how did you get the courage to decide to pursue? I mean, it looks like a field where only elders thread, you know, something like that. So, yeah. So, how?
So I would say it was a hard decision, but I just got tired of complaining, of just making noise on social media, of the state of the nation. We all know the state of the nation. And I felt it's not enough to just pick up your bag and japa. Like, you have to just take actions, you have to be conscious about what you do. If you are going to remain in this country, you have to be involved in politics as a young person, really.
So we don't find a lot of young people. I mean, young people do more of the talking than actually working, being part of the change. I mean, we know how to criticize the problems, criticize the leaders, but how do we get them to know, to be part of the change, to be part of the work? I mean, you took that step. Some others do not even feel like, yes, like they could be part of the change, So how do we get them on board?
Okay, sure. So after I joined the race, I realized that it is not just enough for us to just get our PVC and wait for election days. As young people, we have to get engaged from the onset. We have to join political parties. We have to be part of the escort of those political parties.
Yes.
We have to be those delegates who would make that decision. So it's not just enough for PVC, because the outcome of the primaries are not determined by us, and then we are left with
whoever they
devil and the
choose,
blue sea, So you have to be consciously involved, and not just in the elections of who becomes part of the country's leadership, but in all aspects of our life, in our workplace. We have to start making that conscious effort to be in leadership position. Only that way that the government or the elders would know that we are ready to have power shift to us. Come on, we are more than how many percent of the population, and we just
sit down and complain.
It's not enough, really. We have to be more active.
And I see young people being more concerned about the presidential elections, the governorship elections. There's a local government, there's a councillor, there's participating at the party levels. Their participation at the party levels. There's the part of volunteering, State House of Assemblies, where they should participate and be part of the change. So I'm going to ask you this. Like I've said it countless times on the show, we're trying to build active participation at the elections. There's so much noise on social media. There's so much clamor on social media. Get your PVC, get your PVC. How do we get young people to go to the polls?
I think we have to be conscious again. I've seen concerts that brings people out to get their PVC. Are we going to wait until there are concerts on those election day before we actually come out to vote, If
looks like our interests are in the wrong places.
Very, very, very. And, it's worrying. It's worrying, really, because we are all suffering this together. This future belongs to us. It's now, and our focus is just on the wrong thing. So I think we have to get off our beds, get off those social media, get off on that election day and go and vote. It takes a lot of patience, and as young people, it's not also about voting. We can also monitor the activities that happen around our polling units.
Yes.
We take that action by ourselves. We have to own the process of governance by ourselves, really.
Okay.
Okay, I think a quick one, because the messages, they keep on coming in, and please try as much as possible to
not to call, sending your messages, WhatsApp,
it's already
text messages.
Okay, so one Mr. Takun, he said that my card is damaged and as well want to transfer to a new location because I want to vote this time around. Please update me. God bless you all.
Yeah, I want to advise the young man to go to INEC office. First of all, he should check his voter status.
Okay.
It will give him the details, because the voter status will give you everything concerning you, and then you print it out and take it to the INEC office close to you, and where you want to transfer to. The transfer is easy once you give your details. You find out, they check the database and your name is there, and with what you've printed out, it makes it easier. And then secondly, for a replacement, they can always replace. It's easier than those who want to register afresh. For instance, he is being sincere that his card is missing. But for some other person, they will go and say they want to go and register and all that. And then you find the whole day battling to see if you can register. But the truth is, his card can be replaced.
Okay.
But even at that, we want to use the same opportunity to advise, to counsel our friends to keep their voters card well. Because if that voter card would not have been defaced if it was properly placed, properly kept somewhere.
Just like that.
I'm sure he didn't. I'm sure his ATM card. I'm sure his ATM card will not be defaced because he kept it properly. So it is very, very expensive to print those cards, but they will replace it. The best thing for him to do, instead of going to go for a fresh registration, he should go to INEC office, because when they go to the place, there are people, if it's for reprint, they will be segmented. For those who are coming fresh, yes. For those who are coming for transfer. So once they get to the various places, they will tell them this is what the process is to follow.
Okay. So
you have
the
more
next
questions?
question, yes,
Okay,
more
go
questions.
ahead.
Yeah, mainly. So she said, good day. I registered for, oh my God, calls are coming in. Please, please, please. Okay, so he said, I registered for voter card 2005. I can't remember who was the INEC chairman then. Right now, what do I do?
Yeah, if he registered, the question is if he had voted, maybe if he couldn't vote in 2015.
So that seems like the question I did ask earlier.
If he didn't vote in 2011, he didn't vote in 2015, it means he had no card. Because if he registered in 2005, that card will not be valid. But because that was during the period of Professor Morris Iwu, and so that card is not valid, except he registered in 2010-2011. So if he registered 2010-2011 up to now, those cards. But then for him, if he registered in 2005, I think he needs to go and register. But the question is, did he vote in 2011?
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question, Hawa. Okay. You contested under the platform of the APC. I want to understand the concept of the delegate concept. I mean, like you said earlier, we get to depend on a select few to determine who we cast our votes for. So how do they choose? I think I've heard it's about one delegate from each local government. How do they how are these delegates selected?
Okay. Yeah, so for the delegate system, for APC, 5 delegates are selected from each ward. In my case, there are 23 wards. So you have 5 delegates from each ward, and those delegate selection is supposed to be from a congress.
Okay.
Yes, and that is why I said young people have to get involved,
to
because
be part
sometimes
of
these
the
congresses don't even hold. And if you are just a lone voice, you cannot question the process of the delegate selection.
Okay.
So if young people are involved, if like minds are involved in politics, we can get to question that the Congress did not even take place if it didn't. And then if it does take place, we get to select who the delegates, the nomination process in the Congress of who becomes the delegate. So a lot of these things happen that we have to be involved primarily from the beginning of that process to the end, not just the end process of voting for election.
So how do we even convince these young people that they could be part of the process? Because, I mean, social media is not such a bad thing. But it's not a bad thing. I mean, it has its own advantages.
The awareness. I love the whole energy, but I mean, that's not where it
we
stops.
need to be part of because if every young person in this country comes out, we are a lot of power. We're a lot of force. We concentrate on just the presidency and the governorship. But if there are a lot of young people in the House of Rep, the Senate, the State House of Assembly, if the president needs to go to the National Assembly, or if he knows that there is a strong force of young people in this other local government, councillor, I mean, he would know that these decisions are not just going to be taken without their consent, because they are involved and part of the plan. Okay, let's quickly take a report on voter sensitization. When we get back, there'll be more questions and more messages from you.
You know if you wish this country well, and you know come up for house come vote. Cause if you do am now, you be one of the problems wey we dey talk about. You know if you wish this country well, and you vote for person wey you no believe in. E no good. You wey dey collect money up and down from different politicians, wetin you gain? To you wey no vote for 2015 and 2019 election, wetin you gain? voting no dey happen for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook or even WhatsApp. As you dey make noise for social media about your candidate, make sure say when the time come, you go polling center, go cast your vote. Because if you sit down for house, they look, waiting you give.
Waiting you gain. Well said, Ebere. I mean, to be honest, waiting you gain. If you don't go vote, waiting you gain. Like if you get that PVC and it's sitting in your wallet, waiting you gain for real. But I think, is it safe? I'll ask you again. Is it safe to say that? I mean, nobody should come for me. I'm just asking the question. Is it safe to say that these young people are to blame for whoever gets to win any elected position, because you just talk, you're not part of the process, and then you now start to criticize the actions of whoever is there? Is it safe to say that they are partly to blame?
Not completely, because again, it's the young people that come out to vote. But
really?
Yes, if you look at the demographics of young people and women, especially women are
actually
usually come out to vote. Yes.
Oh, really?
But we need more, because a lot more are laid back, especially the educated ones.
Because I'm asking that because you'd see, like one of the reports we played earlier. I had used the Anambra State elections as an example, but I'm going to use the Ekiti now. They had over 900 and something accredited voters, but just about 187. But just about 87.
187,000
so
voters.
I came out to get accredited, but I did not vote. I do agree that there could be some invalid votes that would not be counted, but I didn't vote. And then whoever gets to win, I'm complaining. Am I not to blame?
You are really.
Well,
truly.
the thing is that another one is, okay, you've been there, like you've seen what voting looks like, you've seen what election looks like. What do you think is the demographic of voters like all these years? What type of people do you think consistently come every single year to come out and vote?
Well, the women, just like she said, the women and the youths, really, they are the ones that they do.
The youths?
The youths, yes. Yeah, they do. Because
I see a lot of old men.
Elderly people.
Yes.
But the elderly people, the numbers are not as many as the women and the youth, yes. Because they do come out, but the thing is, a lot of them will come out and they may not have valid PVCs, and they come to the polling unit just to make trouble and all that. So we at times you find out that you see a situation where you get to the polling unit, somebody is coming for accreditation, you check the card, okay, collect the card and say, what is your name? And the person tells you, this is my name, and you check the voter's card, and it's not the person's name that is in the voter's card. And then you say, okay, the person should step aside, and they will begin to complain, oh, well, you are disenfranchising me because of so and so. But if you have your valid card, you have every opportunity to get accredited. And like I said, if you say, well, the number, and you find out that in a place where you have about 2 million people who registered as voters, and then assuming maybe about a million collected their cards. And then you see the person who becomes your governor is elected to govern you for 4 years. Only 200,000 people voted for such a person. And it doesn't really make any good sense. Because if you want, because you're not, is that a full representation of the total number of
So I think everybody that hasn't voted or did not vote when they should have voted shouldn't complain.
They should be blamed, not the person who wins.
Yes, because you should have been part of making the difference, rather than sit at home and complain that the person who was put there by someone else isn't doing what you want. Anyway, let's take some messages.
Some messages, please. Okay, so
if there are
one
questions,
I just read,
please.
of course there are questions. So the one I just read a few minutes ago, he said that when he collected his voter's card, he noticed that there was a problem in his name. His name was wrongly spelled. Then another one, he said since 2011, I've not been able to get my PVC. I got to the local government. I was told my PVC had been collected by another person.
What? That happens.
Well, you see, the thing is that
collected by another person,
and that is why the commission started with the formula of you come if you want to pick a PVC, you have to sign and collect. You know, there is a register, you sign and collect. The reason is that before now, they will tell you, okay, I'm your traditional ruler, I'm your constituency leader, I'm your councillor, you can give me because the other people have gone to the farm, you can give me all the PVCs, I will give them at the end of the day.
Recipe for rigging?
Well, that was before now. Now, before you collect your PVC, you have to sign to say you are the owner of the PVC. Right now, before you collect your PVC, you have to sign. Nobody is going to give you a PVC when you are not the owner of the PVC. You find out that before, you could find out that when you talk about maybe about so number of people collecting their PVCs, you'll find out that maybe those PVCs were probably a traditional ruler. Those days, that was before now. Traditional rulers collect those PVCs. I will distribute on behalf of my people. The councillor, the House of Assembly member, these are my constituents. So you come, and you remember there was a particular time where they were saying that before they give you anything for the vote, they have to scan the back of your PVC to collect your VIN number because they want to use it. But the commission is faster. But one thing I know that politicians are becoming too fast. Okay. You are planning something to do. The politicians want to be ahead of you. And that is and this is only the country that I know that elections are going to be held. The whole economy is grounded to a halt. Because in other climes, you go to a polling unit, the elections are holding, you are going to your office, you go to the place, vote and go to your office.
Go back to your office.
But now restriction of movement. And now you find out that somebody who in Atlanta, an 80-year-old woman was weeping because she couldn't vote because she thought that, because she had her PVC, well, she couldn't get accredited. Because of that, she was weeping because for something that should come didn't get to her.
I think maybe that has to do with creating some sort of safety during elections. I think that's why the halt movements when
yes, safety.
Election period.
But why do we need to grind? Because the politicians too are not helping matters. Okay. Because everybody, just like with what you're saying now,
I feel like registration. You have something to do with this.
Just like what you're saying with the registration. If you get to the place where registrations are taking place, you're supposed to be orderly. Yes. They are giving you numbers, your number 1, 2, 3, and all that. Then some other people will come from behind and want to jump, and then we disrupt the line. And that is wrong. If we are orderly, that is what the politicians do. If you are orderly, you won't find it difficult following the process. Number 1 will register and go. Number 2 will come in. But what do you do? What do you find now? Everybody, the youths are all shouting. They want to jump on top of the person. And the person who is walking will not focus because everybody is surrounding the person. The person can't do the job. So if you are orderly, come in. We say, okay, this process started a long time ago. Yeah. And then how come everybody is now wanting to register at the dying minute?
So
people were given the opportunity to register online.
Record time.
Yes, people were given the opportunity to register online. And it paid off because the commission considered the youths. Oh, well, your media savvy, your internet savvy, you can register and all that. But they didn't register. Now everybody wants to register. And you are jumping on the head of the person, the official that is registering.
Okay, so I need to take this question now because it's really important.
Can we take the question? Like, we need to take the skit now.
Okay, no problem. Let's just do it.
So let's make you laugh a little bit. I mean, it's a serious matter, but you can take it in with a little humor. The skit is up now. Okay. Oh Lord, a little humor never does any harm, right? So yeah, it does carry the message, even though you take it with a bit of laughter. So time is no longer on our side. We have covered quite a lot, but we'll be rounding up now. But before, you want to take one more message?
Yes,
just one message.
So, this person, I just read it a few minutes ago. So he said that he just recently had a change of name, but he still has the old voter's card. So will he be able to use it? That's the voter's card with the old name.
Yeah, if he had not changed the name, the voter card is still valid. because that is what he's known. That is what he's known for in the database.
Yeah.
So he can still use that because that it has his facial mark. His fingerprints are still the same.
Okay.
He has not changed his fingerprints. He has not changed his face, but the name is only the name that he has changed. But when he gets there, because the name that is in the voter's card is what he's going to use. But in case he wants to change the name, he cannot go back to the commission to say, look, I've done the change of name, and you come with an affidavit. Let's know whether really that is your name. And then they give you, they cross-check, and then just change the name in the database, and then that becomes your new name.
Okay, so while since you're talking, I'll just take your final words. We'll be rounding up with this, but I'll just take your final words. There are a lot of people, we've said a lot today, but people still need to have this information to be able to do the right thing. What is your advice to every voter or to every Nigerian concerning getting their PVC and how to use it?
Well, the first thing is go and collect your PVC. You find out that in terms of the number with the commission will say so number of people had registered. You find out that we have a huge number. Like the REC in Imo said not long, some time ago, they have over 170,000 PVCs uncollected.
Wow.
And so people should go and collect their PVCs and use it.
Okay.
And then your PVC is your right.
Okay.
And then guide it so that it will not get missing.
Thank you so much. So Hawa, finally, your final word to young people.
Okay,
You're a young person doing this.
I would keep saying again, like I've said before now, be part of the process from the beginning. Join political parties, be delegates, be party officials, and then at the end, make sure you vote. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Sariti, for being on the show. And Hawa, thank you so much for being on the show. Ebere?
So much. Thank you so much for having. I learned so much. You have no idea.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us today on this edition of the Medley Show. I'm sure it was quite insightful for you, as it was for me as well. So we've given you a lot of knowledge. Make sure to use it and don't just let it sit in your head. See you next week. Bye-bye.